Hey everybody, we're back, and today we're going to talk more about setting up your article, but more of the actual formatting of the actual text and setting up the article, some things within the actual content. So we've already discussed the title and focus keywords and all that good stuff, and that's all been done here. So today we're going to talk about the actual articles themselves and what you need to do to make it look not only professional, but also how you can set up your paragraphs and where you can put links in a strategic way where your readers won't get bored, or it'll be easier on their eyes, and they'll want to stay on the page. They're not going to want to leave because your paragraphs are too big or the article looks funny. So we're going to look at one of my old articles. And I also am going to show you some examples of some other writers from some other websites. Just to make it clear, the two writers I picked are very successful writers and they do an amazing job, but I'm just going to show you how some different ways to format and how great content can be less effective because of how an article is formatted. So the first thing, once you have your article done, is you're going to want to look at your paragraph spacing. And remember, this isn't academic writing, so you're not going to write your paragraphs based on what subject you're talking about. So if you're writing an essay or a chapter for a paper, you're going to organize your paragraphs depending on what subject or what point you're trying to make. It's not like that when you're either blogging or even writing for newspapers or any kind of published journals. It's different. So you want to divide your paragraphs and your writing up in a different fashion when you're doing this kind of writing. So the quickest thing, the best advice I can give is you want to break it up to how you speak and what's going to complement your points. So this is something that's important because we as editors, we can go back and kind of get an idea for the best way to break up paragraphs. But if you do it, then it's going to sound more authentic. It's going to sound like your voice. I am not you. So the way I'm going to break up your paragraphs might look or sound different than the way you might, because we have different ways of speaking. So let's take a look up here. Right off the bat, you're going to want to make sure the beginning of your article is broken up. And right off the bat here, I have just a lone sentence. So, well, one out of two isn't that bad, right? So I'm making a point. I'm kind of being a little sarcastic, obviously, but I'm making a point. And if you look throughout the beginning of the article, all these single sentences are points I'm stressing. So that's something to keep in mind. You're not going to leave big points or even snarky comments. You don't really want them within the bigger paragraphs because they might get lost. So you want to make sure as you go through to divide your thoughts up in a way that's going to keep your readers reading. So I'm going to show you an example of a different web page. So this is Blue Shirt Banter. They're amazingly successful, and as much of a hard time as I give Joe Fortunato, he's a great writer. However, if you look at this website, there's a ton of information here, and they're huge paragraphs. And I love the Rangers, and I have a few places I go to read every morning, and this particular article the paragraphs are huge. And I actually lost interest in this one pretty quickly. Even though the content's great, the paragraphs are huge, and he's basing it off of subjects. So each paragraph's a different subject rather than writing the way he talks. Now, also notice that there are no pictures. There's no links to other parts of their website. So if we look at, this is Rick Carpinello. He's a beat writer, and he actually is in the locker room. So his articles are a lot longer than what ours would be, but he's actually getting quotes. He's actually talking to the coaches and the players, so he can do that. Also notice that even while he breaks up his paragraphs by subject, that he's breaking it up with some pictures. So it makes it a little easier on the eyes. Now, for the type of writing we're doing, it's a little different because you really want your voice to come through in your writing. So go through, once you're done writing, you want to make sure you break it up. As you get better at it, you'll do it as you're writing your paragraphs, but you always want to obviously reread when you're doing your own editing and make sure your paragraphs are broken up in a way that sounds like you. So once we have that done, you're going to want to add some pictures, but once you have your text done, right off the bat, you're going to go over here to where it says preview changes. Now, for me, it says publish because I'm an editor. It's going to look a little different for you, but you'll still be able to preview your article. So I'm going to click on that, because what is important to notice is that our articles have our ad that automatically goes in. So you want to make sure that if you have pictures or embedded tweets from beat writers or links, that those either it's best if they come right before the ad, the automatic ad, or after. So as you can see right here, I have visit New York Rangers Center after. You want to leave most of the time for features, you're going to leave your videos or pictures further down the article. It just looks better, and you want to keep things away from this ad. So as I scroll down and look through this, here's my video, my embedded video, which is a whole nother subject on itself, and here's my beat writer tweets. And now we're going to talk about inserting the links. So a good rule of thumb, and of course it'll change from article to article, but a good rule of thumb is always insert your team center. So for whatever you're writing about, insert your team center, and you're always going to insert your link at the bottom. Now the way you do that is with this button right here, insert or edit link. And it's really easy. So if I want to insert a link, I just click on an empty line. And let's say I want to link to this article, even though this is the same article, just for conversation's sake. You're going to do two things. You're going to scroll to the top. You're going to copy the address, go into the post, and you're going to click the Insert Edit Link button. Right off the bat, click Open Link to a new tab. You don't want people to leave your article right after they've opened your article. So the link address that we copied here, we're going to insert it to URL, copy, and then right at the top, copy the title and insert it into link text. And then you click Add Link. So here's my link. Rule of thumb for links in the actual article body: bold it, italicize, paragraph or heading 4, and there it is. For the links on the bottom, it's the same thing, except highlight it. It's always heading 2. Bold, italicize, and you want to insert next here so the reader knows where they're going next. So that's always a good rule of thumb. Add your center, your team center, and the link at the bottom. Now, if you're writing about a subject that doesn't have a team center, so say I'm writing about, let's say I'm writing about Cam Newton's comments from the Super Bowl. You could insert a link that is from a different article, but maybe something that's NFL related. So all of these things are great ways to make your articles look better. There's one last thing. If you look in my article, you notice that all the player names are highlighted, and if I click on a player name, it'll bring me to their player page. And it's all linked through hockeyreference.com. Now there's one of these, as you can see up top here, for baseball, college basketball, NBA, college football. There's one for every sport. So once you get to the reference page, so in this case it's hockey, you're going to go over here to where it says more. Click on other where it says linker. And in all these, here's the description of how to get your linker set. Up here in my bookmarks, here are my linkers. I have one for baseball and one for hockey. And in Google, it's as easy as clicking this right here and dragging it into the bar. And it just shows up right there. If you have something other than that, you can read the descriptions right here, and it'll tell you what to do. But the great part about that is once I have my linker all set, now I've already done it, but I can show you what to do. So let's say I'm done writing my article, my pictures are in, everything looks good. You click over to the text side, and it's as easy as clicking the hockey reference tab. You'll see this allow up to 30 seconds. It never takes 30 seconds. And then all your players and team names will be linked. And it's just that easy. So that's how you need to set up your, or how you will want to set up your formatting. Once again, that's important not only to make it look better, but it also gives your article your own voice, which is something that the editors can't do. We can't make it sound like you, we make it sound like us, because at that point we're breaking it up how we see fit. So yeah, guys, enjoy.